Alright, in our line of videos on budget gear and guns, we like to try to go over things that are good quality stuff that is not going to break the bank. And that description right there matches this knife that we're going to show you today to a T. This is the Cold Steel Bushman. Cold Steel's been making these knives for a pretty good little while now. I've had this one for about 5 years. I mean, I didn't beat it to death, but it's had moderate use and it's held up pretty good. I like it. It's a carbon steel blade, so you do have to make sure you keep it oiled. But you can get you a couple dollars worth of mineral oil at your local drugstore and it'll last you for a long time. Just like I said, just keep it oiled. When you get this knife, you're paying roughly about $30. I mean, it's still a good $20, usually cheaper than the other survival knives out there that are around this size. And when you get it, you're getting a full tang knife. That's one piece of metal from the tip end to the tip end. That's all one piece right here. There's no fasteners, no nuts, bolts, screws, or anything. But unlike most of your full tang knives out there on the market, this one can also be used like a hollow handle knife, which would be weak right here. So when they made this, they took that one flat piece of metal and curled it around in the back to form the handle, which is a great place for keeping a little container of survival items. This right here is just a 10 count pill bottle. Doesn't matter what brand you use. And all you gotta do to do that is just heat up the end of it down here on the bottom and keep pushing it into the handle until you get the fit that you want. You can make that sucker go completely flush up against there. And like I said, if you want to get it back out again, just poke it out with your little finger. And of course, it's not coming out on its own. Now, the reason why they made that handle hollow in the first place is because this knife was intended to be double use as a spearhead. As you can see right here, there is a little hole that you can use to put a nail or a screw or something like that to hold the head onto the pole a little better. In my experience, if you just take the pole and just barely fit it to the size of the inside of this handle, it ain't gonna come off. But you know, however you want to do that. If you want to keep a little screw with it, that's fine. So like I said, for 30 bucks, what you're getting right here is you're getting a full tang knife. You're getting all the benefits of that. You're getting all the benefits of having a hollow handle knife, and you also have the benefit of a good spearhead if you want to turn it into a spear instead of trying to tie it onto a pole like some of the other knives say to do that have the little holes in the handle. This would be a better spearhead than those would, in my opinion. And all that would be 30 bucks. That's a good $20 cheaper than a lot of these other ones out there on the market that have endorsements. Now, if you get some of these knives that are a little bit cheaper price, they originally came this way too. They came with a kind of a fabricy nylon sheath. They don't have this pouch. I added that. That's my own little customization, I guess you call it. It's just a straight pouch with a loop on it. And what I don't like about it is, as you can see, it kind of pooches out a little bit right here. And that's to help hold the blade in place in the sheath once you got it in there. As you can see, you have to kind of pinch that to get it to flatten out enough to actually be able to get the blade all the way in there. Once you got it in, I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's just the problem is when you go to open it back up, unless you want to cut this material right here, you have to take your other hand and pinch the sheath to get the blade back out. I learned after I started cutting it a little bit myself. I started doing it that way thereafter. So I recommend, if you can get a hold of the one that's got and this is the way they're making most of them right now anyway, is with this Secure-X sheath. Works a lot better. One hand, take it in and out. It's a real fancy little sheath, hard plastic, got a belt clip to it, a little springy. And it also comes with a ferro rod in this little compartment right here. Pull that out. I added the 550 cord to give me something a little extra to hold on to and to help secure it onto the sheath. And speaking of the ferro rod, I gotta say something about these knives that is really about the only real disappointment I have. In my experience, trying to use this knife and use the spine of it to strike a ferro rod, I've had very little luck. I'm not getting very good sparks. I know I could just turn around and use the cutting edge to strike the ferro rod, but you know, I don't want to use my cutting edge for something other than cutting. Call me crazy, I just figure that's what it's for. But another method of keeping survival gear is, another cheap method also, is use a little sandwich bag. And I recommend that, especially if you do have the one with the ferro rod, then your little survival items, that you keep a small section of a hacksaw blade. Don't cost you much. Throw it in there and it makes a great striker for your ferro rod without having to dull your knife edge. I mean, you can put any other item you want to in there, you know, typical fishing weights, hooks, lines, I don't know, picture of somebody back home, whatever, I don't know. But, so what you got right here, what we've gone over today, is the fact that you got a full tang knife, you got a hollow handle knife, and you also have a spearhead, all for about 30 bucks. So if you're looking for a survival knife and you don't want to spend a lot of money, but you do want to get good quality, it's gonna be hard to beat Cold Steel.